bigger than daily planners. I'm not here to talk to you about how to make cubicles and how to fill out your daily planner. That's not what today's about. We're talking higher level stuff here. So there's some direct correlations there. This is a kind of a funny one. There was a study done, and I have the sources. If you're that guy and you need the source, I'll be happy to email them to you. But for the sake of pretty pictures, I didn't put all this stuff. They did a study on multitaskers. Who's a multitasker in here? Like, you love that, right? I do a lot of speaking in the realtor. Do we have realtor? There's no realtors in here today. All right, so we can back off. All right, so I do a lot of speaking in the real estate industry, and I say, you guys all remember these pictures? They're business cards in the 80s and 90s where they had a phone on one ear, they're writing a contract with their other, they're driving with their foot, you know, they're like, yeah, call me because I do everything at once. And you're thinking, why would I want that person in charge of my stuff? You know, I'm here to tell you multitasking is out. It's not cool. It's passé. Technology makes it sexy, and they're trying to lure us back into it to do all these things at one time. But the reality is, we need to get focused together. It does not make you better. It is not something you want to promote and brag about anymore. We want to have that focus. So they actually had a study where people who were always on the phone, just go in a million directions, their IQ actually dropped 10 points. So if you need another reason, multitasking makes you dumb. Okay, so that's it. Here's where some of our day is going. Anybody get interrupted? On average, the average person is getting 1 interruption every 8 minutes. Every 8 minutes. 7 an hour, that's 50 or 60 in a day. That's pretty realistic. Just in pure time loss, that's 3 hours or so a day. Now let me ask you, what you can get done in 8 hours, and you should be able to get done in 8 hours, we're willing, because of what we signed up for, to work 11 or 12 or 14, right? Where is that 3 hours going? And I'm going to share it. Hey, this is personal for me. You know where that time was taken from? My kids. You don't mess with my kid. I had to make a serious adjustment because any extra time that was wasted during the day, I didn't have a choice. I had to still do it, right? So it takes from something. This time is getting taken from something somewhere, right? Where's my IT guy? I know you're in here. All right, right? So this time doesn't just get added to our schedule. It takes from something, either your business, your relationship, your kids, and we'll talk about that. Okay, now I'm really going to get on this.
That's really deep. Oh,
don't ask me again. Is that what I tell them?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Dre. Okay, good. Right? So this time goes somewhere. So here's the real reason. I'm going to get a little real with you. This is the reason why for me. Statistically, right now, on these massive surveys, we're saying people right now are spending less than 2 minutes a day meaningful conversation with their spouse or their significant other. 2 minutes a day. Now I'm talking about meaningful communication, connecting, where you are there. One of my first mentors used to always tell me, Brian, be where you are. Because I was always, I'm here, no, I'm good, baby, right? Yeah, what do you want to do? Yeah, thank you. That's not what I asked you, right? It's 2 minutes a day. It's even worse for our kids. 30 seconds. And if some of us are honest with ourselves, this is true. Now, is it like that every day? No. But it's become the afterthought. Because that time that we're losing during the day, we have to make up for it somewhere. Mm-hmm. This is hard. I watched a small business swallow my father whole. To this day, he has not figured it out. I have 2 children, 3 and 5, 1 on the way. He's met one of them once, the other one twice. Where does he live? In New York? No. Marin County. 2 hours away. And there's not a strain on our relationship. He just doesn't understand. He knows his business. He started his when he was 20, just like me. And I've made it my life's mission to make sure that this does not happen to other business owners. This sucks. Your business is not more important than your kids or your family or your spouse, your significant other, or your happiness or your health or any of those things. It's not. Right? This is real. This is what's going on out there. And this is why when I sit down, I had a new client meeting the other day. We sat down, we were 20 minutes in, and she lost it. Because she's lost control of her life. The reason why I pointed all this stuff out is because it is real. This time affects everything. It affects your productivity, it affects your profitability. Those are the great catchphrases, but it affects more than that. Some of you thrive on doing all this stuff all the time and you're always running on the edge, you know what? Some of us notice that and we won't do business with you because of that. It will affect your reputation. I had a CPA that every time I walked in his office, he could never find my stuff. How does that make me feel? Right? If you were to walk into Vicky's office and she kept, bringing up the wrong policy or could never really find it or didn't remember who you were, right? You're not going to do business with people. It affects your reputation, your relationships. How about the opportunities you're missing because you're always playing catch up? Right? So it affects everything. So that's the number one rule. Here's the big myth that I want to get rid of with time management. There's this concept of free time, right? Guess what? There is no such thing. You are trading your time for one thing or another. Remember economics in college or high school, that term opportunity cost? So if I do this, I won't be able to do this. It's the same thing with our time. We're either doing one thing or we're doing another. Does that make sense? Right?
Yes.
So I want you to take this term and completely omit it from your vocabulary. Because there is no such thing. There is no such thing. So one of the first things I want to encourage you to do, and I think we did this at that night, is I want you to put a dollar value on your time. I want you to put a dollar value on it. How do you come up with this number? Very easy. My clients all know if they're billable, they know how many hours they need to bill a year to generate a certain amount of income, their goal. My best salespeople who work with me, they know exactly how much volume they have to do. My business owners know how much profit. You know the number. Whatever that number is, you divide it by the number of hours you're willing to work. There's your hourly rate. I'm going to assume that most of the people in this room have a 6-digit number they need to meet or exceed, and if it's not 6 digits, make it 6 digits. Right? Why not? If you divide that by the number of hours on average, most of us should end up somewhere between $50 and $200 an hour, depending on what your numbers are. Now, you've invested some time to be here. You didn't have free time in the calendar. You may have thought that's how you ended up here. You invested time to be here. Your time, let's just use $100. I better make sure you walk out of here with $150 to $200 of value to be here. You might as well have written a check as soon as you walked in for $200. Because if not, you should have been out there doing something that yielded that. Does that make sense? Would that maybe change some of the time that you're spending with other people, or clients, or staff? Right? Does that make sense? I want you to completely shift how you value your own time. Great book I'll give you. I'll give you the title. How's that?